good morning. It is Sunday, February 17th, 2019, and today is mock field trip day. We're going to go visit homesteaders in Missouri, and they're going to take us to look at some very interesting animals, alpacas. They're going to take us to see a friend of theirs who is a breeder and processor. So let's go.
The bottle man.
This is Jeff.
Howdy. Yeah.
All right, Field Trip Friday. We're here. We're at Alpacas of Troy in Troy, Missouri. And this is the bottle man.
This is Jeff.
Howdy. Yeah.
This is his place. We actually have a relationship. When we first started looking into alpacas, we actually came to his place, talked to him about alpacas and all that stuff.
Yeah, when it was a glimmer in our eye.
Yeah, and then it turned out to be a thorn in our side. And actually, when we were getting rid of our alpacas, he came up the last year. We did shearing, and we actually sheared them together and everything, and then we ended up gifting him and letting them take the alpacas that we had left so they could come here, be with other alpacas, and have a good home. So,
Helen! Cookie! Helen! Cookie! Helen! Cookie! She never, and she doesn't usually come. She
wants to see the visitors.
I don't know. She's just interested in us today. Her name's
Hello,
Special
baby.
Princess, and that's Excalibur.
This one's Excalibur.
I think he's got a good chance of being a stud.
Yeah, look at how beautiful it is.
He's got some great sheen.
Yeah.
There's two types of alpaca. Stacy, if you want to hold that, you can feed Helen, and then I'll feed Excalibur. He's only been taking milk about a week and a half, just because it's been so hot. I wanted to start on him.
Yeah, he's got beautiful hair that girls would give lots of money for, wouldn't it?
Yeah, he's got some good sheen. His father is Zavi the Great. He's a gray boy, but you never kind of know what you're going to get. Cookie! Cookie's out there. I saw her. She put her head up, and she wants to come. And we're going to have to walk over to her because... Oh! Yeah.
So also you have the Great Pyrenees.
Yeah, that's Hunter. They protect against #1 killer of alpaca is domestic dog.
Yep.
So they run all the stray dogs off, which is really important. But, oh, here's Cookie. Yep.
Aw,
She's
like
quite
an
a
Oreo
looker.
cookie, huh?
Yeah.
Are you done?
Yeah. Off an Oreo cookie. There
So your daughter, she helps feed, and so it's kind of like a whole family business, right?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. She also runs a market for us once a month, or once a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's got her 2 or 3 markets. She does, and yeah, we're at like 6 or 7 markets a week. So Helen's about 9 months old. Cookie's about 3 months old, and Excalibur's about 4. So that's she went 4.
Cookie's hungry.
Sorry, Cookie. I just brought this along just to let me fill this up, girl. She's yeah. So she's a Surrey, and Helen is a Wakaya. There's 2 different types of alpaca, and they have different characteristics. The Surreys are a lowland alpaca, and the Wakaya are a. I'll borrow one of those just in case we need it. I don't know, but the Surreys are a lowland, and the Wakayas are a higher land. So they handle the cold weather a little bit better than the Surrey. The Surrey don't quite handle it quite as well, but in Missouri we're fine.
And the Surreys also look like they kind of have the long dreadlocks as they get older.
They do. Yeah. These 2 girls are Wakaya, and 90% of the herd in the U.S. is Wakaya.
Yeah, that's what we had was the Wakaya.
Yep. Well, okay, here we are. We're going to start the fiber processing part of the alpaca business. And we're a fiber farm, so all of our money comes from fiber. And what I have here is a blanket. I'm a shearer as well, and I advocate that alpaca owners learn to shear because there's several different reasons why, but mainly you need to be able to keep that profit, and it's a revenue stream for you. If you know how to shear, you can shear for other people, you can shear your own animals, and you get to know the fiber a lot better. This is a really nice boy. His name is Sundance, and he is super, fine alpaca. And mainly after we shear him, this is all his blanket, but we need to go around and just check to see if there's any debris or anything that we don't want in the fiber. It's called skirting. I go around the blanket. This is his blanket, and we also use the seconds. We use every ounce of fiber that comes off the alpaca. We do not. We share we don't throw anything away. We save the first, the seconds, and the thirds, and we have different products for each one of those.
Could you explain the difference between the first and the seconds and the thirds to the viewers?
The firsts are the blanket, so it's from the shoulder to the rear end of the alpaca, and it goes over their back, and it goes from about their midline on both sides. So it's like a blanket right over the top of the alpaca, and that's the best quality fiber that they're going to produce. That needs to go into yarn if they're a quality alpaca. Now, then there's parts of the leg, from about the 3/4 up on the leg down to the to 1/4 of the leg. That's called seconds, and everything on their neck is also seconds, and that can be used very effectively. We actually make the same amount of money on that as we do on the yarn, except we put it in a different product. So I've skirted this fleece. I've gone around. I've looked for any debris. I've looked for, like, here's a burr. I'm going to take that burr out because that's not going to do anything good for your fiber. Our next step from after skirting and after we've taken any debris, the more debris we take out, the better. It really saves in the long run. If you try to process it when you haven't pulled out the debris, you're going to make a big mess. So just pull out as much debris as you can, and then we tumble it. So we go over to the tumbler, which is right over here. So we're going to tumble the fiber, and it's going to blow all the dust and debris out of it so that we don't throw it through the machinery. So go ahead and turn it on. And this is, I tumbled this a little bit, otherwise it'd be covered in dust right now. I'd say this takes 50-60% of the dirt out. And we're going to move over there now. So we're going to pick this, and this is important because there's a lot of dirt still left in this fiber. And if we don't pick the locks out, and we don't separate this out, the washer will not wash most of that dirt out. So we want to wash that out. So in order to do that, we need to pick the fiber. It gets a little bit loud, but we're going to go ahead and run it. And okay, so we're going to. After we pick it,
it's like cotton candy.
Wow, look at that.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah, that
looks like clouds.
Yep. And then we take that and we're ready to move it into the washer. We have drying racks, and we just spread this out and we let it dry. So after we pick it, then we wash it, then we take it to the dryer. Then we come to a machine called the separator, and this is a really fabulous machine because as much genetic breeding as you can do with the alpaca, sometimes you just can't get it perfect. And there's something called guard hairs, and then there's secondary fibers. And secondary fibers is what makes really soft yarn. Guard hairs are they're very sparse. They're throughout the blanket of the animal. With really good breeding, you can make the guard hairs very similar to the secondary hairs, but sometimes you end up with an animal that just has too many guard hairs. This machine takes those out. Now on the back side, we get this fiber, which it's got the shine and the luster of the suri and the fluffiness of the wakaya. So it's really the best of both fibers. But I do find that you want to blend about 80% wakaya, 30% suri, or less. You can still get a nice sheen with 20% and 80% wakaya, 20% suri. But if you put too much suri in there, you're going to lose the memory of the wakaya. Wakaya is what would be similar to lamb's wool, where you have memory for knitted products like hats and scarves. So then the separator, then we move on to what's called the carder. This is the heart of the mill, and this takes your fiber that you have washed and picked and separated and everything. It's going to take it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's going to take it into roving. That's really good. So this is the first part of being yarn. It needs to be in this format in order to spin it. Super consistent.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I push the limits of this machine. I will tell you, because I like to make creative yarn. I don't like to do the same thing all the time, but I do like to make lovely yarn. And so this is a 2-ply. I'll show you some. This is more of a DK, a little bit bigger than a sport, but came out really nice. Let's see if we can get into the light here. This is so this is. Let me see if I can. So this is, there's some of just a standard sport weight, maybe a little bit heavier than a sport weight, really soft white alpaca yarn.
Thank Doug and Stacy for producing this very thorough start to finish video. And we're going to leave you with a couple of product shots from their visit to the alpaca farm. And whenever we do a featured creator video, we really want you to go and look at all of their content that's of interest to you. So next, you're getting kind of a twofer today, because we're going to go visit MK Christiansen in another part of the country, and she's going to tell you about her 200-year-old spinning wheel. Spinning yarn on a spinning wheel is considered hand spinning, even though the spinning wheel is a machine. And she has a beautiful example, so let's go visit her.
Hello again, this is Mary Catherine at Red Robin Farm. This is the last day of March, and I thought I'd spend a little time introducing you to my spinning wheel. This is a 200-year-old, approximately, I don't really know for sure, spinning wheel made by Silas Barnum. You can see way down here his signature, his stamp, S. Barnum, on the wheel. And for those of you who don't know much about a spinning wheel, I'll tell you the different parts. This is called the bench here. Adam drilled little holes so I can keep this crochet hook, a very small crochet hook in there, and it's used here to draw the fiber through this little hole, which is called the orifice. This is the wheel. This is a double drive band. This is just cotton yarn that I've used to make a drive band on here. It's kind of a seamless 2-loop band that keeps the wheel moving. This whole assembly here, all of this is called the mother of all. And it moves back and forth on the bench because it goes through a hole here. I have some little shims here to try to make it tighter. And this is the tension mechanism. You can make it tighter by pulling the mother of all out. And when I pull it out, of course, I make the drive band more taut. And when it's the tension is tighter, then the yarn feeds in through the orifice faster onto the bobbin. So if it's pulling too fast and I want it to slow down a little bit as far as how fast the yarn's going in, then I would just reach over and loosen by rotating it that way. Okay. On the mother of all, this is the flyer, this U-shaped piece here. It also has a metal shaft that runs through the middle of this bobbin, which the bobbin's here. And then on the other end screws on what's called the whorl. The drive band goes around the bobbin whorl, which is this groove here, and one of the two grooves in the smaller whorl. And these are two separate pieces. This whorl screws down. This has been the tricky spot in this wheel, is getting the whorl to stay close enough to the bobbin so that the bobbin doesn't jiggle around too much, but not so close that it tightens the bobbin down and doesn't let it spin, because the bobbin is really supposed to spin freely like that. When it's on the bobbin, I have a piece, that green piece is permanently attached, and the yarn goes through one of these hooks. You see I'm missing a couple here, missing a couple on the other side as well. The yarn goes around a hook and then through the orifice. And then this is my roving that you saw me comb and diz, and now I'm going to try spinning it. Wonder if that will work. Hope my hand doesn't get in the way, and maybe you can see what's going on as I spin. Okay, so we're going to just pull on this yarn, apply just the right amount of fiber, and then the tension. Ooh, that's going to be a big, that piece looked a little big, but now that the tension's already gone into it, the twist, I can't really pull it out anymore, so I'm going to get some going down here. And I can even draw that tension on down for a very long draw. This is going underneath where the camera is. And if perchance my friend in Massachusetts, who very, very generously gave me this spinning wheel, it was in her 4th grade classroom and had been donated to the room by a family who didn't want it anymore. And it was just sitting there as kind of a history object lesson, but it's not really used, and it was kind of in the way, she said. And they were really, school was intending to throw it away, but it is just such a beautiful piece of historical machinery, and what I love is that it still works very well, and spins yarn. And the other thing you do after you spin yarn, after you spin 2 pieces of yarn, it's very important to ply them together, because as I put this yarn onto this bobbin, you can see it twist a very particular way. And if I stop it, let me get some good twist in here. If I stop it, look at what it does. This is called a pigtail. It's got so much twist. And so if I tried to knit with just this, it would twist up on me and it would be very difficult to knit with. And so what you do is you have 2 pieces of yarn, and when I ply them, and plying means I put them together through the orifice onto the bobbin, when I do that, I spin the spinning wheel the other direction, and I have to actually put my drive band on in reverse as well.
We're going to move on to another of Mary Kay Christiansen's clips where she shows how to ply 2 pieces of yarn that she has spun. So let's go.
I load my yarn, take it off of the bobbin because I only have 1 bobbin, and I put it onto toilet paper rolls because I have tons of these. And they are all exactly the same weight, exactly the same size. And so, as I said, I want to do a 2-ply yarn. After I get 2 of these, if I'm wondering if they have somewhat comparable amounts of yarn, I can weigh them, and if they weigh the same, and I know that the 2 toilet paper rolls are the same, then I feel pretty certain I have comparable yarns on either one, and I can ply them. Good morning. Here's Red Robin Farm, and I'm Mary Catherine. It's such a beautiful day. Look at the sunshine out there. 75 degrees, sunny and clear, and I'm so sorry to those of you who are still having harsh winter weather and blizzards. Plying yarn. I have 2 different rolls of yarn here that I have spun, which means I have put twist into them. And I'm going to take 2 of them and ply them together, which means you retwist them together as you put them back onto the spinning wheel, back onto the bobbin. When you do this, in order to kind of balance out the twist you've already put into both of those yarns, you're going to spin the spinning wheel the opposite direction. We're going to spin it this way today. People have fancy machines to help them ply. I got a shoebox. This is a nice sturdy shoebox from Polo, and I put a hole here and a hole here, and a hole on the opposite side, and I ran 2 knitting needles through it, and so I've got a nice little post here that won't go through. And I took 2 wine corks and used my husband's drill to put a nice hole in there so that I could poke the knitting needle into them. And so these hold my yarns before as I ply them, keep them feeding off well. This is also the reason why I kind of splay out the ends of my toilet paper tubes here that they're loaded onto, so that the yarn doesn't slip off the end and get all wacky. We'll hope we don't have any trouble like that today. I've just started the plying to make sure that it was going to work smoothly, so I wouldn't waste your time with mistakes. All right, let's see if we can get this. Oh, that looks like it might stay. I'm so sorry. Well, I've got this resting on there. Maybe that'll work. Okay. And this goes so much faster than spinning. It really is quite amazing. You just have to watch as you feed it in. And spin in the opposite direction. And usually you keep a finger or a hand or whatever in between the 2 yarns to keep them separated until right before they go in. Again, you want to manage, you want to watch it to make sure that it's feeding as quickly as you want to and not backing up here at the orifice. If it starts to bunch up and back up here, you know you have a problem loading onto the bobbin. And you want to have enough twist in it that the yarn is well twisted, but you don't want it to be too kinky, okay, and start doing big ponytails. So you want to make sure that it's strong. See, there's a oh, that's just a little piece of something. I'll try to work that in there. Yeah. Usually the pigtails, the really extra twisty spots, happen where the yarn is the thinnest, and they usually happen in the yarn that I've already done. They don't usually happen in the plied yarn, thankfully. Okay, let's keep on going. This is such a nice, easy thing to do. I had one spinning friend tell me that plying was her favorite thing to do, because after all the hard work of spinning, especially if you get raw fleece and you wash it and you pick it and you comb it and you diz it and you into roving. Now see there, I've got a bit of a bunch, and I've got more twist. I'm getting too much twist, and I don't want to slow down my treadling. That's where the twist comes from, but I want it to feed faster, so I'm going to increase my tension just a little bit and see if that helps. Okay.
And we're going to leave Mary Kay there to her spinning. We thank her very much for demonstrating the hand spinning method on a very beautiful 200-year-old spinning wheel. I have not talked about previously, but fiber arts was one of the artisan trades that I was involved in before I moved here to the country, and perhaps sometime in the future I'll show you a couple of my products. Until then, we hope that you enjoyed this little mock field trip. We hope that you and yours are well and blessed. And for me and the shepherd, take care until we see you again.